Hi, everyone, and welcome. I guess just before we dive in, would love to kind of hear where everyone's dialing in from today. If you want to drop it in the chat, it would be great. I myself, I'm based in Ottawa in Canada. And Sierra, where are you dialing in from?
I am dialing in from Puebla, Mexico. I go between Puebla, Mexico and Athens, Georgia. So today is Puebla. We're in rainy season right now, so it's nice and cool where I'm at.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, for us, it's a hot summer day, but I'm so excited for the summer. So,
Excellent. Me too.
where's
Yes.
anyone interested in sharing where they're dialing in from? Maybe drop it in the chat.
Oh, we got
Someone from
Toronto.
Toronto. Nice. And we'll just give it another minute or so and then we'll kick things off. Oh, Bali.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
Bali,
Chicago, Halifax,
Halifax.
England.
Nice.
Cool.
We're all
Nice.
over the place.
Really cool. Very global group. Yeah. Awesome. Amazing. Well, I think we can kick things off. So first of all, I wanted to thank everyone for joining us today for this special webinar. So solving real world integration challenges with a modern tech stack. We're excited to team up with our partner Data Automation to show you how the right integrations can essentially help organizations overcome operational challenges like manual processes, disconnected systems, and scaling roadblocks. So at Katana itself, our mission is really to help modern manufacturers run lean, flexible operations. And combined with data automation, we really take that a step further by building custom automations that essentially extend Katana beyond the UI and adapt to your unique workflows. So in terms of agenda for today, so we're going to kick things off with some introductions. We'll give some background on Katana as well as on data automation as well. And then we'll be sharing some real use cases, discuss some common challenges, and how to build a flexible tech stack. Data automation is also going to show a live demo of a bomb configurator that they built. And we're also going to highlight how our solutions essentially complement each other to help you run a smarter, more integrated business. And then finally, we're going to wrap things up with a Q&A. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go. So I'll kick it off initially with introductions. So my name is Kristen Salamu. I'm a partner manager here at Katana. I work closely with business consultants, e-commerce agencies, and accounting firms to essentially help them find the right inventory solutions for their clients. I've been in the SaaS space for the past 18 years and excited to be here with you today. I'm going to hand it over to Sierra to introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sierra. I'm the CEO here at Data Automation. I took over here in 2022. The founders founded the company in 2015 with the idea of really helping people eliminate all the day-to-day copy and pasting, Excel-based, everything that goes into running an e-commerce business manually. The whole goal was to help business owners be able to focus on growing revenue instead of working on everything in the realm of manual entry. So I'm super excited to be here. My background before software was in medical device. So happy to be in software now. It's a very cool, fun, changing world. So very excited to be here today with you, Kristen, and love working with Katana.
Amazing. So for those of you that are not familiar with Katana, I'm just going to give a quick background. So Katana is a modern all-in-one inventory and manufacturing platform that's designed for product businesses that want real-time visibility into inventory, production, and operations. One thing that really sets us apart is our ease of use, fast onboarding, and measurable business impact. So we actually scale with your business with unlimited users, SKUs, and integrations. It's also a solution that's quick to adopt. So half of our customers are actually fully onboarded in just 6 weeks. We're trusted globally, so we support over 1,500 businesses in 70 countries across 75 different industries. And we do offer tangible results. So a lot of our customers will see or report a 21% increase in inventory turnover, a 12% reduction in stocked inventory, and even a 60% year-over-year sales boost. And at the bottom, you'll see that we're industry recognized, so recognized by G2, GetApp, Capterra, and Software Advice as a leading inventory solution. Sierra, I'm going to pass it over to you for an overview of data automation.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So data automation is really about custom fitting your integration to your business. So we don't have you change your processes or change your current system. We adopt our integration to fit what you're doing. So that's a big, big push here at Data Automation. There are obviously other iPaaS systems out there that like Zapier or Make, things like that. And those are great for end-to-end simple automations. But what we really excel in is those very, very customized integrations that fit perfectly into your business. Something else that we really pride ourselves in is our reliability. So we have a 99.96% uptime industry standard, and we're monitoring 24/7. So we know usually before you know if anything has gone down. So we really try to make sure that we are as reliable as humanly possible, as system possible for your integrations. Also, you get an awesome time with my team. We have a team called Systems Design, and they take you from kickoff to go live. They walk you through it step by step by step. You get a custom Slack channel with us so that you can ask us any questions or make any tweaks during the Q&A process while we're kind of going through and making sure you try to break the integration. And if you can, we go through and make sure that we're fixing those little one-offs that you might find to fix. And my team is with you every step of the way. You have direct access to your own systems designer and your own DevOps as well. So it's very much a white glove experience that we're going for in the integration realm. So we're really excited to say that our customers really love that one-on-one setup, and they're able to ask any questions, make any tweaks, and that's really what drives data automation. And at the end of the day, we really want to just take that manual work off of your plate. We want you to be able to grow marketing, work on sales, maybe even develop new products, right? And you can do that when you have more time by using integrations versus doing it all copy and pasting manually.
Thanks for the introduction. And so just curious, Sarah, would love to get your take here from your experience working with different manufacturers. What are some of the most common challenges that you've seen them face?
We see a lot of common challenges. As you can see on the slide here, we've got order fulfillment workflow, planning challenges. Those are a huge one. We have supply chain visibility and inventory syncing between systems. That's a really huge issue for a lot of people, is syncing the inventory. We've got data integrity and then time and cost efficiency. So I wanted to go into a couple of these more specifically to kind of give people an idea of what that looks like in a real world example. So
Okay, yeah, awesome.
we work with a company that makes custom window shades. As you can imagine, if you just look around your own house, window shades are very, very unique to every single window in your house. So what we do is we took that because their orders were coming in with inches, feet, custom pulls, custom motors, custom fabric. You can customize everything about this window shade, which is really, really cool, but also very, very difficult to manufacture. That was obviously slowing them down. They were taking, on average, one entire person's week just to put in the orders correctly into the system and have them manufactured on time. So to us, that's a big deal. You could free that person up to actually help manufacture, to help with the planning process. So we got in touch with them. And what we did is we take their order directly out of their web system. We push it through a bunch of rules. And when I say a bunch of rules, there are over 370 rules that we process for them per order on average. So I'm talking very, very complex. This goes back to us being very custom. And so that's what we do for them. We process through 370 rules. Then we create that order inside of Katana. We create a sales order. So on that sales order, they can see everything that was ordered, which is perfect. That's what they wanted. However, we take it a step further, also create a manufacturing order. And then once that manufacturing order is created, we go and we create very custom work orders in a PDF so that their production team can just print off a work order. And what they do is they put it on top of the window shade as it kind of goes down the process of being created, and people can check off everything that they've added. They also get stickers that they add to every single window at each station to make sure that everything is installed the way that it's supposed to be. So we took the order production time on average from 6 hours, because they were going through papers, trying to figure out everything that they're supposed to make, to 15 minutes. So that was a really, really big jump for them. It was able to increase their production capability 6-fold. And then it also slashed their complaints in half. So people before might have gotten the wrong color pull or the wrong fabric, but now they're getting the exact window that they want. So they're really, really, really excited about that. And that kind of goes back into the order fulfillment workflow and manufacturing planning challenges. And there may be some people on the call right now that are manufacturing very, very custom products. If you are, and this is kind of, you have some questions related to that, go ahead and drop them in the chat or in the Q&A. We'd love to kind of answer what that might look like for you guys. But as you can see, it's really, really, we can get really, really custom with these things. There's no challenge too big for us. And the more challenging, the more happy we are. So very excited about that. Okay, so the other one is inventory. Inventory is huge. As you know, watching this, if your inventory is not correct, you're going to have a bad time. Katana is phenomenal at inventory, going down to 4 decimal points. You can get really, really, really specific. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the best softwares out there, if not the best software out there for most people. It's phenomenal. So with Katana, because you can manage inventory so well, you have to connect all your other systems that are relying on inventory. So we had a customer that we worked with, and they do food manufacturing. So their challenge with food, especially because they're having to add ingredients in, was that their inventory was slipping. And when I say slipping, I mean it was slipping really, really, really bad. So they were, on average, they were off about 40% on their inventory. So that's huge when you're trying to create these very specific ingredient boxes. So what we did was we took orders from AmeriCommerce, that's where they got their orders from, and then we would go into Katana, calculate raw material and MO creation based on AmeriCommerce's very specific inventory setup needs. And then the Katana would connect them out to ShipStation for fulfillment. And then we connected ShipStation back to AmeriCommerce so that all the orders were deducting inventory the way that it needed to be reduced. So the planning time just for inventory was cut from about 4.5 hours a day down to 20 minutes, because they could actually trust the inventory that was going through the system, which is amazing because Katana does all the heavy lifting. You've got the reporting, you've got the planning, you've got all of that, but you need to make sure that the inventory is correct between all of the systems. So they're extremely happy. They eliminated all their spreadsheets. They were working on 15, if you can believe that, 15 spreadsheets before, and now they're only working with Katana and our connection. Okay, so I've got a question. Would like to know more about non-stock inventory. We issue POs for supplies, and all the supplies get recorded in the system, and then we have to adjust out as we use. Is there a way that a platform where we receive it as non-stock items and don't have to adjust out all of the time? I'm going to let Jason take that part of that right now, and then I can answer that as well if you have a question about the integration side of that. But Katana now does have non-stocking items. So I'm going to let Jason take that because that is a very cool feature that they just launched. Okay, next up is consolidation. This one was crazy, super, super cool brand. They make custom clothing, which is very intricate. As you know, if you just look at your own clothes, you've got probably zippers, buttons, material, all sorts of stuff that goes into that. Well, they didn't need help creating the sales orders. That was fine. But every single part of every single item was becoming its own manufacturing order. That becomes really cumbersome when you're trying to make sure that you're manufacturing efficiently. They wanted to be able to manufacture all of the items at one time for one piece. So they wanted to manufacture all of the tops, for example, and all of the backs of the tops, for example. So what we did is we look at every SO, we poll for new SOs, then we pull those SOs and create combined manufacturing orders. That allows them to then just push combined manufacturer orders through the system, grouped by SKU and delivery date, and then manufacture those. Something that they also wanted was the ability to make priority manufacturing orders based on some rules. So we run it through about 15 rules to see, do we need to prioritize this? Do we not? When does it get manufactured? And that's all part of the manufacturing process that I know everyone on this call constantly thinking about is which orders go first, which orders need to go next, and so on and so forth. So with a few rules, we were able to really speed that up for them. There is no manual intervention in this. This is done by our integration, done by the rules that they've set up, and the MOs just flow through the manufacturing process. So the MO planning time, it dropped from 3 hours every single day to just 30 minutes. They were doing about 10 hours a week on spreadsheets on average, just to try to make sure that the manufacturing orders were going through correctly, where they were timed right, the delivery date was correct, and they were able to increase their throughput by 30%. So very happy about that too, because they make the coolest stuff. So I'm happy that we were able to help them make more of it and get more into the market. All right. So let's see what's up next was back order fulfillment. Another apparel brand. As you guys all know, apparel is something that takes a lot of manufacturing, as I touched on a little bit previously. But they had a classic back order issue. Restocks would come in from Ship Hero, but fulfillment required manual cross-checking. So they had to figure out, where does this go? Who's doing it? So on and so forth. So we built an integration that has a trigger that watches for completed purchase orders. Then we had a lot of rules. There's about 40 rules total. It prioritized oldest open sales orders in Katana. We did some smart allocation logic just to make sure that we were allocating the correct way, right? First in, first out, or last in, last out. We would also then, after that, after we did the ran it through the logic, we would auto update the sales order for full status traceability. So it would go through every single step automatically based on purchase orders. Then we would also sync inventory and fulfillment systems between both of Ship Hero and Katana. So all of their manual triage was completely eliminated. There was no more looking to see like, oh, this is a restock. How do I which SKU do I take it out of? What do we have on the shelf? So on and so forth. All of that was done by the integration. The inventory syncs across all systems. They don't ever update their inventory in any system outside of just putting in POs, receiving POs in Katana, or completing manufacturing orders. And customer satisfaction was improved by 70% on their side. So they're very excited about that, because as you all know, businesses, we all thrive on customer satisfaction, us included. So I'm really, really excited about that. So that's it. That's all I have on some common challenges, but hopefully that gives you an idea on what we can do here and what we see a lot with Katana.
Thanks for sharing those. Those are definitely some very powerful use cases and just some amazing results that were achieved. So really cool. So I guess when it comes to building a tech stack, many businesses actually don't know where to start. So even when it's time to change. So a lot of the questions that we see or often hear on the screen. So what questions should I ask when designing a tech stack? How do I know when it's time to upgrade or switch? And how do I know what tools I actually need? Based on your experience, Sarah, how do you guide clients through this? And are there signs that you look for that indicate it's time for a business to rethink or potentially redesign their tech stack?
Absolutely. And there are times when it's not necessary. So I will say that right now. However, when you're updating the same data in multiple places, you find yourself going between the same systems multiple times a day. That's a clue. You're using spreadsheets as glue between systems. Spreadsheets are awesome, but they are not the full-fledged inventory system that you need. You need Katana, and then you need to connect that out to something else if you're using 15, spreadsheets. That's another clue. Fulfillment is delayed. If you're seeing, oh my gosh, we can't get through all of these orders because we don't know when they're going to be finished in manufacturing, or we aren't able to track our inventory correctly. If you're hitting those bottlenecks where it's actually affecting fulfillment, it's actually affecting production, that's definitely one of the largest clues and the most common we see when we are dealing with integrations. It's just we're growing, we're finding success, we can't keep up with it. Help is at that point. And then when you're hiring people to do what software should. So a lot of people might go in and hire some outsource employees to do some spreadsheets, manual entry, or maybe even manual entry into Katana. That would be a time to consider, could software do this? Remember, software works 24/7. And it is a lot less error prone since it's not any manual entry, it's a computer doing it. So those I would say are the top 4 signs to think about when considering automating or not. And then you asked me like, what do we automate? Once you get there, like, what are we actually automating? The things I would start with is where you're most error prone. That's going to be manual entry, right? So if you're seeing a lot of errors, you definitely want to consider automating that. Where you're seeing the most delay. So that we're most often going to see that with needing a manufacturing platform, inventory platform like Katana, or where you're just spending a bunch of time. And we see this most often in people using a lot of spreadsheets or in people doing manual entry for sales orders and things like that. I mean, that can take your entire day just entering in sales orders, and that takes away from growing your business or from doing R&D, things that one, are much more fun, and 2, make you more money. So how do we choose a system? Pick tools with strong APIs. That can be pretty technical, but any integration platform, and us specifically, we have no problem if you want to shoot us an email and say, hey, how's the API for this system? You can do that. We'll tell you. We will give you the suggestion on whether or not it's a good system. But good APIs, which are what integrations run off of, those are the backbone to any setup. Because if you don't have a good API in your systems, it will be very, very hard for you to grow as your business grows. Because the main goal of integration, free up time so you can grow your business, right? Well, if you're trying to grow your business on systems that don't have amazing APIs or backbones, you're going to find some complications there. Katana, amazing API, Shopify, ShipStation, those are all great examples of what to look for in a really well-documented, full functioning API. And again, like I said, if you have any questions, shoot us an email. We'll let you know what we think about the API. Go for flexibility is another big one. Your automation really should follow your operations, not the other way around. So you don't want to try and shove yourself into a system that you're like, oh, this really isn't working for XYZ. There will never be a system that works 100%. So you do have to take some concessions, but the big main issues for you, make sure the system fits that. Katana fits pretty much every big issue I've ever seen anyone have come through. They might just need some tweaks with us augmenting the system, but that the the backbone is there. So that is it for me. If you have any other questions though, pop them in the Q&A, pop them in the chat. If you have any questions specifically about choosing a system, and I'll answer those for you, or send us an email.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing those insights. And up next, Sierra is actually going to walk us through a quick demo of a custom-built BOM configurator that was built to work with Katana. And it's just a really great example of how we work together to extend Katana's functionality and, again, tailor solutions to meet specific customer needs. So over to you, and I'll let you run through the demo.
All right, awesome. I'm going to just take over share here really quickly. Can you see? You never know with Zoom. Looks like you can.
Mhm.
Awesome. All right. So this is our custom bill of materials software. Why might you need this? Because you have a bunch of rules that your orders need to go through in order to add things to your manufacturing orders or your sales orders. That's when I would suggest this. So we set this up specifically for clients in that situation. We're going to talk about, in this case, it's a fictional customer, but a rug manufacturer, so floor rugs. When you're buying a floor rug, you can order by size. You can order circular, rectangular, square. Maybe you even want to choose different threads where it's sewn together. All of this can really complicate creating a simple sales order or manufacturing order because there can be rules. For example, go to the rules tab here, and all of this you can set up yourself. So that's what I love about the custom BOM configurator is you're able to set these up as you need them. So if you need custom math where you say, if the rug is over 10 feet long, add a special plastic wrap, you can do that. In here, you can see that we are adding stretch film. We're adding stretch film if it is one of these SKUs. So you can get really, really specific on these orders. We've got equals qualifiers, if it exists qualifiers, and we are not just leaving you out there to set this up. I know it can look a little bit confusing for some people, or maybe you're an expert and you can just fly with it. We're cool either way, but we want to make sure that you get the help that you need if you need help setting this up. But you can add any sort of rule that you want. So you can add binding tape right here. So add tape if the border color is oatmeal. So every time we would see a sales order come through, we would go through these rules and say, that has oatmeal tape. Okay, I need to add binding, or oatmeal color, I need to add binding. Okay, so it is just making sure that all of that stuff you either do in your spreadsheets or you do mentally or you have like a cheat sheet, all of that stuff, we want to make it to where you are able to not have to do that manually and that you can run it through this system in order to get the rules set up as you need to get them set up. So we're constantly improving this. We've had a couple of people ask for different qualifiers. So we're open always to what your business needs. Again, remember the system should fit the base of what you're looking for, and then we can augment as needed. So it's very, very important. Something that we love as well are the calculations in this system. You might want to account for loss because if you're cutting something out, there's always going to be loss. What percent loss is that in your inventory so that your inventory stays really accurate? On this one, it's 15%. So we have a 15% loss on all orders. And then we have some where if it is a round rug, we're adding 5% for spray glue. And we might even want to add 40 feet of stretch film to wrap the rug in. So these are all highly custom calculations that you can set up that will go into your manufacturing order. So at the end of the day, inside of Katana, you will see exactly what you're looking for as far as what tape went into this, what does it have spray glue? Well, instead of having to go look at your spreadsheet or go ask your coworker, you have it automatically added because it's already been set up. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for you to be as efficient as possible. We also have SKUs in here. So we will pull in all of your SKUs so that you can see them. If you do not have SKUs that are one-to-one, which happens, so they might be named something else in Shopify, for example, but you want to call it something completely different in Katana. You can do that with our system. So right here, you would just do matching so that we know what it is between both systems. So a lot of systems require one-to-one matching. Obviously, just as a system setup suggestion, it is best if you can do one-to-one mapping, but I know sometimes it's not possible. If it isn't, we definitely solved for that to make sure that you're getting what you need at the end of the day, because that is what's going to propel your business, is having systems that work for you and not against you. So we set that up as well. Same with materials. You can do the exact same thing. And then you can apply rules as you want just from this screen as well. So if you see, oh, I need to add some rule here, you can add that rule if you would like. You can go through and add loss, and you can see how many rules. We tried to give as much data as we could to you so that it is as simple to set up. And then what our hope would be is that you set this, and then unless you're adding a new product or unless you have a new rule that you're adding, you forget it and it just works. And we would love that you can just stay in Katana, because that's where your reporting is, your inventory is, your products are, right? It is our goal to help you stay inside of Katana after you have set this up so that you don't have to even think about it anymore. It just creates the sales orders and creates the manufacturing orders. And I know maybe some of you might be thinking, oh, well, we have like some special setups where we need to wait X amount of time after a sales order is created in order to create an MO. Not a problem. You can set that up inside of rules as well. It's just a simple wait. So you might say, oh, I want to wait for 30 days. Some people wait for 30 days. Or, oh, I want to wait for, we have also done, I want to wait for another sales order to be completed first. So these rules can get really, really, really complex as you want them to be. And then if there are any add-ons that you need, say you need those stickers we were talking about earlier, or any custom work order setup, we can do that as well. Not inside of this system specifically, but it can be based off of the rules in the system. So that is a little heads up of how the custom bill of material works. Does anybody have any questions before I continue, just out of curiosity? Okay, waiting. No. Okay, no worries. So the other part I wanted to show you of this is orders. So your orders can be uploaded in several ways. The first way is you can connect them directly to systems like Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, or you can do CSV uploads. CSV uploads are pretty common, especially if you're coming out of a CAD software. So we wanted to make sure that we allowed CSV uploading. The cool thing about the CSV uploads is you are allowed to match the headers like you can match on Shopify. So the headers don't have to be what we force you to name them. They are dynamic and you can map them into whatever you want. So I say this because a lot of systems export Excel sheets or CSVs with their own headers. And then you may have had to in the past go through and update all of those header names through all of the spreadsheets. In this case, you don't have to do that. You can just map and then it'll pull into these headers as assigned when you set them up. So that is that part of our system for the BOM configurator. And we just hope, what our hope is to make sure that you get exactly what you want inside of Katana, exactly how you want it. So I was going to show you another thing that we can do, because I saw something about supplier lead time. And I wanted to show this because it is an augmentation that we can do on top of Katana. So the reason that this is something that people might need is because you might need those heads up, right? You might need something like that. So you can see here that we've added a new piece to Katana through a Chrome extension. So this works on laptops and desktops. And you can see that we've augmented it to be able to see the order note when hovering. So we could also do that if you wanted to add like supplier lead time. We could do that here as well, just through augmentation. So the options for integration are almost limitless with Katana because, again, you've picked a system with an amazing API. So without that, you may not be able to do all of the things that you truly want to do, right? It's very, very important that you pick a system that is able to handle what you're going for. And Katana is one of those systems. So I definitely suggest looking through that, shooting an email. I just really want to make sure that you don't get into a system that's not going to work for you. So if you have any questions, like I said, we work with Katana all day, every day. And if you have any questions, is this other system good to work with? And we can let you know, yes or no. Okay, slight off track, but I wanted to show you what this looks like when we bring a product into Katana. This is the sales order. You're all familiar with what this looks like. This is my test account. So you're all familiar with what this looks like. This is the sales order. You can see we've got pricing, quantity, everything like that. This came from the custom BOM configurator. When you go in and click into it, you can see that we've added ingredients. So we can add ingredients, we can add product operations, which I don't think we did on this, but we can add these product operations, we can add product recipes. There is no limit to what can be added. As long as you can see it here, we can add it. So you would set all of that up inside of the custom BOM configurator. It also allows you to set up product operations down to granular control. So you can say, if a product comes through, a rug comes through, and it is round and over 5 feet, add XYZ product operations. If it is under 5 feet, add ABC. So you can really make sure that you're getting all of the operations fine-tuned to what you're looking for in your own setup, because that's one of the most important parts of setting up a system, is making sure that it's fitting your production operation needs, your needs in general. So you can, even with product operations, I love that Katana does this. You can have cost and time added. So you can really, really fine tune with your reports, how much time you're spending, what's the cost, should we try to optimize this at all, so on and so forth. So that is what that looks like when we pull it over into the Katana system. And that is how the BOM system, custom BOM bill of materials works. And I'm going to stop real quick just to see if anyone has any questions on anything that I can answer before I go into products. I'm just going to wait a couple seconds because typing is not always the fastest. Okay. All right, so another thing I wanted to go into is triggers. If you've ever worked with another integration platform, maybe Zapier or Make, you know that you can add triggers. You can also add triggers to our system as well. So you can add rules that are based on a certain trigger. So if it has, for example, sunrise activation and night owl, we're going to add certain rules to that. So binding tape, stretch film, and so forth. So like I said, you can really get really, really custom into this whole setup because we want to make sure that you get what you need. This basically will eliminate any need for you to go in and create manufacturing orders manually by adding the recipes, adding the product cost, adding all of that. Instead, you'll just set it up here once. You can see we also have base price here, and you can add it. Another thing that is very helpful, and this is specifically for Shopify. So if you use Shopify, tune in for just a second. Shopify does not allow you to have unlimited amounts of charged variants. So you might want to charge down to additional thread, and you might hit the top of what Shopify allows for charged variants. Not a problem. You can set that up inside of this app to add the cost to the sales order screen as well. So that is a big one that we have a company that creates very custom setups as well for car wiring. And that was an issue that they were running into was, oh no, you can imagine there's hundreds of different models of cars, well, hundreds of different types of wires. And they were running into that variations issue. So that's specifically for Shopify. If you do have that problem, you no longer have to hit that as a stopper. So that is it. that is all I have for the custom bomb configurator. I hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat here as we start to go into Q&A or yeah. So I'm going to stop my share. Kristen, you want to take it over?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Thanks so much for going through that. Definitely a really cool solution. And just bear with me as I switch back to the PowerPoint screen. Can you guys see that again?
I can.
Okay, amazing. Um, so really just wanted to take a moment to highlight the value of our partnership with data automation. Together, we're essentially enabling manufacturers to automate and scale faster, really by building those solutions that go far and beyond what's available out of the box, essentially. So helping you save time by eliminating manual setup and repetitive data entry, increasing accuracy. So automation helps to ensure that data stays consistent and reliable across all of the systems, essentially. And then tailored workflows. So we're building solutions that align with each customer's unique processes and business model as well. And then improving responsiveness. So the automation we've enabled together helps reduce things like lead times and improves customer experience. And then finally, we're unlocking Katana's potential beyond what's possible through the UI. So giving growing teams a way to scale their operations without having to sacrifice things like control or flexibility. But so far, it's been really exciting to see what we've built together through this partnership, and we're really just getting started. So that actually wraps up our main content for today. We'd love to open up the floor to questions, thoughts, feedback, whether it's about the demo, the tech stack, specific use cases, or even just how to get started. So please drop your questions in the chat.
Yeah, don't be shy. If you got any sort of question, we've got Katana here, and then we've got me here as well. If you have any questions about what systems you're considering, what systems you're currently using, anything like that, I'm more than happy to answer on any of those. I think it's really important to get any of those questions answered, especially when you've got a team that's pretty knowledgeable here on what you might be looking for.
Mm-hmm. So I guess just while we're waiting potentially for some questions to come in, so for a team that's already using a few data automation tools or connectors, how do they know when it's time to move to something more custom like what you guys offer today?
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you're using Zapier or Make, both great platforms, but a lot of times you'll see that your zaps start to break because the one of the systems has updated their API, but hasn't updated their app. That will break your zaps. Two, if you need really fine granular control on errors, that's another one. Zapier will let you know once it's errored, but after a lot of subsequent errors. And then if you are starting to get zaps where you're in about 40 steps deep, you probably need a custom solution. And the reason for that is because at that point, you're piecemealing things together. You're kind of taking some little information here and a little bit of information here, and you're trying to bring it all together to be exactly what you want. That is absolutely a time to consider a more custom boutique setup. And then the big one that we've really tried to talk about a bunch during this call is the integration just isn't doing what you need. It's not working with your system. You're bending pieces of your system to fit within the constructs of the integration. That's when you need a custom integration because it will make your life easier. Your team can continue to work the way that they want to work, that they expect to work. And then you can make sure that you're growing your business in the most efficient way possible. So those are what I would suggest.
Amazing. There's a question around pricing, so we'll follow up at the end of this call and we'll provide a direct link. So we have all of our pricing on the Katana website. It's very transparent and in terms of kind of feature functionality that's included. But we'd also love to hop on a call with you to go through the pricing so we can identify which pricing package might best suit your needs as well. So definitely something we can follow up with you directly on this as well. Maybe I guess just one question in regards to, or let's see, is there?
Okay. Is there anything different you would highlight for companies that are production driven versus the sales driven examples provided? Okay, Maggie, so are you referring to, so you're a production driven company as far as are you producing, are you a wholesale manufacturer maybe? Am I reading that correctly? And seasonal. Perfect. Okay. So we automate for seasonal production driven companies, especially ones that go to market. I don't know if that might be your business, but we work a lot with some candle manufacturers. So those are very production driven, very seasonal. Our system doesn't care about seasonality. It works just as well under 10,000, 100,000 SKUs and orders as it does with 50 to 100. So as far as you being a production driven company, we can work with outsourced purchase orders. We can work with purchase orders that are standard. We can work in manufacturing orders only, and we can use sales orders as tracking for financials. So we do a lot of that. And then as far as something we do specifically for production driven companies is augment some of Katana's planning, especially with seasonality. So if you would like to have a call to talk about your specific setup, we do not charge for calls, and you can have as many as you need to feel confident in what we offer. We'd love to do that because I know when it comes to seasonality, that planning is very, very difficult. So if that's something that's top of mind for you when you're thinking about this and when you join the webinar, then absolutely book a call with us. I'd love to go over how we've solved that for seasonal and production-based companies like yourself. But awesome question. We love production companies.
Amazing. So if there's no other questions, we don't see any other questions that have popped up in the chat. Wanted to really thank everyone for their time and spending this time with us today. We really appreciate it. We'll be sending out a follow-up with an email with a link to the recording as well.
Oh,
I just see another
I'm
question
sorry.
pop up, so
Yeah.
let's jump into that.
Hi, Julie. Great question. We also had to do this for an international pharmaceutical company. So we've definitely handled this before. So I know that you can have also different currencies for foreign customers, tax codes, and then you might even have VAT sometimes depending on where you are. So if you're looking for the cost of data automation, it depends on the setup, on exactly what you're needing and what you're looking to get done. So I would love if you want to book a demo. Of course, there's no requirement, obviously, to use us. We are not, I will tell you, as inexpensive as Make, but we work well. So the pricing around something like this for you, I'll give you an idea so you can decide like, oh, maybe this is not for us. It depends on the amount of orders you're bringing through, but you're looking at probably around $200 a month. For if I can just make an assumption on your order volume. Obviously, if you're in hundreds of thousands of orders, that will go up a little bit. But if you're just a business, you're looking around $200. We've done this extensively. We do price lists in different currencies. We do handling VAT accounts, adding them so that they go into QuickBooks. We do tax codes for all of the counties in the United States and abroad as well. So if you'd like more information, definitely book a demo. We can show you what we did for past clients. Thank you, Julie.
And we do have on the screen, we have some QR codes for you guys as well. So if you do want to continue the conversation, there's a QR code to book a call with Katana as well as with Data Automation. And then, like I mentioned, we will send a follow-up email with a link to this recording as well. So that'll be sent out to you after the call.
And it looks like we need, if somebody could share the link to book, this QR is not scanning for one of the people for Katana.
Yeah, for sure. So we can follow up with you directly. So this is the Katana QR code, but we can definitely follow up with you directly to get you booked in with a demo. It would be our pleasure to do that.
Awesome. Well, I am super excited. I just wanted to tell you all, thank you so much for joining. We love webinars. We love Katana. So doing this was like the highlight of my week, really. I hope you got something out of it that you enjoyed. And thank you, Kristen, for having me.
Thank you so much. We love working with data automation. And thanks again, everyone, for spending your time with us today. we're looking forward to what we can build together essentially, and wishing everyone a wonderful day today.
Absolutely. Goodbye.
Take care. Bye.